Hello everyone. So today we are going to explore one of the most famous cases in the history of product safety, the Tylenol Murders. In 1982, the nation was gripped by fear and confusion as seven people in the Chicago are tragically lost their lives after ingesting cyanide-laced Tylenol capsules. This incident, which became known as the Tylenol Murders, not only shocked the public but also forever changed the way companies handle product safety crises. So there are seven questions from this case study. So now let's take a look on the first question. What might have been the consequences if Johnson & Johnson had decided to tough out the first report of Tylenol-related deaths and not recall the product? So imagine a scenario where Johnson & Johnson decided not to recall the Tylenol following the initial report of death. The consequences could have been catastrophic. They risk losing the trust and loyalty of the customers, facing extensive legal battles and hefty financial losses, and enduring long-term damage to their brand reputation. This decision could have set a dangerous precedent for the handling of product safety issues, potentially endangering countless lives. Okay, and next, let's move on to the number two. What other public relations option did Johnson & Johnson have in responding to the first round of Tylenol murders? Okay. In addition to recalling the product, they could have taken various public relations approaches. For instance, they could have issued emphatic statements expressing concern for the victims and their families, cooperated transparency with law enforcement, investigation, and provided clear and timely safety information to the public. These actions would have demonstrated accountability, compassion, and a commitment to consumer welfare. And now let's move on to the number three. So, do you think the company made a wise decision by reintroducing extra strength Tylenol? Despite the immense risk and public scrutiny, Johnson & Johnson made the bold decision to reintroduce Tylenol with new tamper-resistant packaging. This move was not only a testament to their confidence in the product, but also a strategic step towards rebuilding trust with consumers. By implementing innovative safety measures, they addressed the root cause of the crisis and demonstrated their unwavering commitment to consumer safety. This decision ultimately paved the way for the restorations of Tylenol's reputation and market dominance. And now let's move on to the next question. In light of the response of other companies not to move precipitously when faced with a crisis, do you think Johnson & Johnson should have acted so quickly to remove the Tylenol product when the second round of Tylenol murders occurred in 1986? So, fast forward to 1986 when another wave of Tylenol-related deaths occurred. Some critics argued that Johnson & Johnson acted too hastily in removing the product from shelves. However, given the grave risk and the lessons learned from the previous crisis, their swift, decisive action was justified. By prioritizing consumer safety above all else, they once again demonstrated their commitment to ethical business practices and earned the respect and trust of the customers and regulators alike. Okay, and now let's jump to the next question. So, what specific lessons can be derived from the way in which Johnson & Johnson handled the public relation aspect of these tragedies? So, several key lessons stand out. Firstly, prioritizing consumer safety in paramount, even at the expense of short-term financial losses. Secondly, transparent and emphatic communication is essential in times of crisis to maintain trust and credibility. Thirdly, swift and decisive action can help mitigate the impact of a crisis and prevent further harm. Lastly, implementing preventive measures and continually innovating in product safety is crucial to safeguarding consumer welfare and brand reputation. Okay, and now let's move on to the next question. What was the media environment when the Tylenol crisis occurred? how might the result have differed if the crisis occurred today? So it's essential to understand the media landscape during the Tylenol crisis and how it compares to today's environment. Back then, traditional media outlets such as newspaper and television were the primary sources of the information, allowing for a more controlled dissemination of news. However, in today's digital age, social media platforms wield immense power and influence, enabling information to spread rapidly and sometimes uncontrollably. This shift has profound implications for crisis management as companies must navigate a complex and ever evolving media landscape while addressing public concern and misinformation. And now we are already in the last question. So see what information Johnson & Johnson offers for its customers on the Tylenol website, www.tylenol.com. Follow the links to the care cards, house calls, and FAQ sections. How do these sections demonstrate Johnson & Johnson's concern for customers? How do you think Johnson & Johnson would use this website to communicate with the public if new health scares surfaced? So let's take a closer look at how Johnson & Johnson demonstrated its commitment to customer care throughout this crisis. Their website features dedicated sections providing safety information, frequently asked questions, and resources for customers. By proactively addressing consumer concerns and providing transparent and reliable information, Johnson & Johnson showcased their dedication to customer welfare. In the event of future health scares, they would likely leverage their website as a central hub for communicating updates, safety measures, and support resources to the public. So, in conclusion, the Tylenol murders serve as a sobering reminder of the critical importance of prioritizing consumer safety, transparent communication, and swift action in times of crisis. By studying Johnson & Johnson response and the lessons learned from this tragedy, we can better equip ourselves to handle future crises effectively and ensure that well-being of consumer remains our top priority. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all my presentation today, and I'm so sorry if any mistake. And thank you very much for your attentions, and see you.